Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of LFGM, a Mets podcast. This is episode 2 of season 1. Today is January 7th, 2021, and our savior, Uncle Stevie, brought us a gift today. And that gift's name is Francisco Lindor. Mets fans are a little giddy. Um, I would call this a top 5 trade in the franchise history. Um, Today's a big day. Today's a huge day, and it's one of those like back page newspaper days. But um, I think the excitement is not just about Lindor; it's about ownership and the front office making big time moves. They're a big time player in a big time city. The Mets are here, and they're here to stay. Matt, what do you think?
I think that was the best way to sum it up. I think it is more of a move that just shows where this ownership is going, where this organization is now going, what we are looking at this organization to be, where we are now. I think you can consider us an organization similar to someone like the Dodgers and the Red Sox and the Yankees and those organizations that aren't afraid to make the big move, and we made the big move. In terms of the trade itself for Lindor, a lot of executives and other people are saying that like we stole him and Carrasco. I do think we gave up something, obviously.
So we lose 2 shortstops. I guess you would call Jimenez a shortstop right now. But he could really play third. He could play second. He could probably play the outfield if we wanted him to. So we lose Ahmed Rosario, who's been with the organization for, I'll say, 8 or 9 years now, probably, since he was 18 years old. He's 25, so we're talking 7, almost 8 years. And you lose Andres Jimenez, who's 22 years old. He's young. And I think the crazy thing about this trade is Jimenez never would have been a part of this trade if we didn't have a 60-game season and we were like calling him up last year to basically see what he's got. So we lose 2 starting shortstops and we lose 2 prospects.
Why do you say that he wouldn't have been part of this? If
I think there was a lot of like call him up to see what he's got at 60 games type thing going on.
So you don't think we would have done that if there was 162?
Well, it was that weird, like, wasn't the 40-man was different, and no, I don't think they would have. I think there was like different. Maybe you would have seen him at the end of the year, but you wouldn't have gotten a whole glimpse of him like the Indians were able to get last season.
Yeah, for better or worse too, right? I mean, you could play this what-if game forever. Obviously, he would have been called up at some point. It just might have happened in June or so. So he would have played, 80 games, you're saying? Probably 90 at that point. So for better or worse, he could have shined, and we would have been like, no, we're good.
Yeah,
we got this guy. Or he could have scuffled a little bit, and then we're trying to find those pieces again. So, yeah, I didn't think of that at all, honestly. I think what he showed in 60 games, I was really comfortable with him being the shortstop of this
Loved him.
team.
We both loved him. We were so high. 22 years old. He's so young.
He's going to be really good. He's going to be really, really good.
Good for them. And losing a guy like Rosario, who has had his ups and downs in New York, to say the least. There was that weird rumor that was started by, I think, Mike Francesa a few years back where, like, you got to move him to center field. And then he really worked on his defense, and he worked on his setup prior to the pitch being delivered. Dude, the guy put in the effort. I'll tell you that. He's always had speed. He never really stole bases for us, but kind of came on at the end of the year a lot. Used to get like really hot at the end of the year. I think he always hit better down in the lineup rather than he did when he was at the top of the lineup. But I loved Rosie when he was here. I was a huge fan of him. I think his potential is going to be through the roof over there in Cleveland too. So we gave up a lot, but we get a lot. And that's just kind of the way the business works right now. And a lot of this trade, I think, had to do with was obviously money, right? Lindor's contract, it's right now he's getting paid 19.5 million this year. Carlos Carrasco is on the books for the next 3 seasons, I think. So Carlos Carrasco gets 12 million this year, 12 million the following year, and it goes up to 14 million for the last year of his contract. So if you want, you got Carrasco 3 years, 38 million. He's also got an opt out in there. So the opt out would be after the second year, it's a $3 million opt out. So that would be 2 years, 24 million. But with the three, you're looking at 227. So it's almost like you're better off keeping him for that third and final year. But my biggest thing with this trade is I would almost say you have to sign Lindor long term. You have to, if you're making this trade and you're going to excite the fan base like this, and you're going to say, "Hey, we're going for it." It is a absolute 100% must that you lock this guy up long term.
Well, it's obvious. I think it's has to be done before the season. I think I would put that stamp on it. No one needs to have this weighing over them. It should get done tomorrow, honestly. If you make a trade like this, I'm assuming you've spoken to them, whether whatever you put out in the media or not. I don't believe it. I think you know what his range is, what he wants, and I think you've been willing to accept that. From what I heard, it was 7 to 8 years, 200 million. Give it to him. Go for it. Let's do it. Like, that's fine. But it has to happen. In my opinion, it has to happen before spring training. I would really assume that it's happened already, and we just don't know about it.
I think there's a lot of potential and like there's good reasons for Lindor to make this happen ASAP, and the agents for it to happen ASAP. And I'm going to list off some of those reasons. Right now, I think the CBA is up next year. So you don't know what they're going to collectively bargain, and you don't know where the luxury tax is going to be, if it's going to go higher or lower based on pandemic stuff and people losing money. If it stays the same or goes lower, you're putting yourself at risk. I don't see it going up. I can't imagine it going up. So right now, I would say it's at its highest point. That's point number one. Number two, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll say 5 top tier. We'll say 4 top tier and then arguably a fifth. 4 top tier shortstop free agents in the 2022 class. Now, why would Francisco Lindor want to be a part of that free agent class? You don't want to go competing against these other guys. You want to get your contract done now and be squared away and settled and get paid.
That's a good point. Now, who are those guys? Because he's the best. We have the best shortstop in the game, right?
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. Trevor Story, Corey Seager, Javi Baez, Carlos Correa, and
that's
Francisco Lindor would be number 5.
Good shortstop
class. Yeah,
you got a good point then with that. Because
so why would you want to put yourself in competition against those other guys?
Because you'll have less suitors naturally. Because even me and you would probably say if we made it to 2022 and weren't happy with our shortstop situation with the Mets, right? We would probably say
you look at Javi Baez and Carlos Carrasco Carlos Correa.
Like, I love Seager anyway, so it's like I fucking love Seager.
Seager was the guy that you could probably argue is not top tier, but I love Seager too.
Only because of injuries. Only because when you watch him in the playoffs, that fucking dude is seasoned, man. He is so good. He is so good. He is incredible, and without him, the Dodgers struggle in the playoffs. I'm going to say that right there. I know he's had injuries in the regular season, but he shows up, man. And he'll get paid. We were linked to Story like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
I didn't love that at all because I don't need 200 Ks. I'm good with that.
Strikes out too much for me. Yeah, but he's a sick glove at shortstop too.
Yeah.
I think he's an unbelievable defensive shortstop. And I think one thing that we learned about, and I'm going to kind of like jump all over the place here, but one thing we really learned about this front office between Sandy and Jared Porter is they're not afraid to make the move, right? And number two is they value up the middle. And that's something me and you have talked about forever. It's something we talked about on episode 1. But if you look at it right now, we went catcher with James McCann, shortstop Francisco Lindor, and the next piece to fall, I would imagine, has got to be a center fielder. I'm not going to, guess at that, but right now that's 2 pieces that you're looking at up the middle defense, basically. And I think you're seeing a huge emphasis on not just bringing in bats and people that can hit, but you're getting a more defensive-minded front office.
Yeah, I think all of this was very calculated on their end. I do know, like, they've talked about how important the farm system is too, and to give up the prospects that they weren't rated high. Like Isaiah Green was a comp pick for Zach Wheeler, and Josh Wolf, a starting pitcher, I believe, top 20, right? So yeah, and it's things that you got to do, and obviously Gimme was up there too with he was still considered a prospect, and Rosario is only 25 years old. So it'll be interesting to see, do they try to replenish the farm system a little bit through another trade this offseason, or are they just going to work through the draft starting next year?
Yeah, I would imagine they want to start fresh. I can't see them making a move that says, hey, we're going for it, and then a move that says, oh, we have to replenish the farm system now. I think that's a double-edged sword that I think they realize. I think they're going for it, man. They really are. They think they have a team that can make a run at the NL East, and if not, be a wild card team. Although I would fucking hate that. I can't stand watching those one-game play-ins because I always think of fucking Jeurys Familia. And what was the third baseman's name for the Giants?
Hey, he's out of baseball already. But we're not here to be a fucking wild card team. We're not here for that.
I know. They're going
That's
for
what
it.
this trade shows, which is the most important. You could argue, the players that we gave up, whatever, but it just shows that, we are here to win divisions and not wild cards.
The biggest part of this trade is you're also getting Carlos Carrasco. You're getting Cookie in this deal too, which to me I was caught so off guard by that. You're getting a starting caliber pitcher, relatively cheap, 3 years under contract. That to me was a huge piece to this deal that I think people are kind of forgetting. He came back he was the comeback player of the year. He had leukemia, came back in 2019. His 2020, he's had a good year. I love that. I don't want to say it's my favorite part of the trade. Obviously, I love Lindor, and I'm stoked about that. But getting Carrasco is just as important for this rotation and for this team as well.
Well, it's important because it also shows that probably maybe this is our rotation now. Our rotation might be set now after this. I don't know if we go after Bauer. I don't even know if we go after someone like Odorizzi. And Carrasco's a good 2-3. I guess I would push him more towards being a 3, but we have, you got DeGrom as the ace, and then Stroman and Carrasco, 2-3. You could switch them up, whatever.
I'll tell you who they're not going after.
I feel all right about it, I guess. I mean,
I can tell you who they're not going after. Tomoyuki Sugano has just decided to go back to Japan, so he's off the board. He has opt-outs every year, so he could do this again next year. So he's off the board. Right now for the starting rotation at the beginning of the year, I mean, you can pencil DeGrom in opening day. Carrasco and Stroman, 2-3, 3-2, however you want to match them up. And then after that, you got some question marks. I know Noah's coming back eventually, but it's Tommy John. You don't know. And I know Tommy John nowadays it's not nearly as career-ending, I guess we'll say, as what it used to be, but it's still a serious surgery, and you don't know what you're going to get. Right now, what do you do with Lugo? What do you do with Matz? What do you do with Peterson? Because those 3, I would say you have 3 penciled in. You've got Noah, who you can kind of scratch it eventually. So we're looking at a 4-5 in the beginning of the year and potentially a 5th for the remainder of the season.
Now Peterson, I would say he's penciled in right now as a 4.
I agree.
Obviously, that can change with the trade, but then he would just get penciled in as a 5. I think with the 5, they're just going to start Matz to start the year. Obviously, depending on what spring training looks like, but this is what I would predict: is that Matz starts as the number 5. I think Noah. I don't think he's going to be ready at the beginning of the season,
No,
so
they're
maybe
talking like June.
yeah, maybe he'll come in halfway and take over for the 5, or maybe even bullpen. If he's in the bullpen, then that means something is going on correctly with our rotation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine. I would think Peterson doesn't give you great length. I would think Peterson and Matz kind of get matched up. With Matz coming out of the bullpen, you let Peterson start.
two lefties.
I can see it, yeah.
Also, I think they held back on Peterson a little bit too. I think
That's fair to say.
Talk about length. That I think it was almost like clockwork. Like regardless of if he looked good, if he looked a little shaky, or if he looked great, he was out by the 5th every time.
Well,
so leash.
No, that's fair.
Extend the leash on him a little bit. I mean, you got to see what you got with him.
Well, here's why I say I think they still go after someone. I'm not going to say it's Springer. I'm not going to say it's Bauer, but they're still going to go after someone. Right now, the payroll's at $180 million. The luxury tax is $210. Simple math tells you got $30 million to spend. When Sandy was talking today, they asked, one of the reporters asked him straight up, like, do you have a hard threshold of 210? And he was non-committal to that. So to me, that says if we go over, it's not a big deal. If we're under, it's not a big deal. I can't imagine an owner wanting to pay extra money for going over. So I would think it's going to be right around 210. So you got $30 million left to spend here. That could get you Bauer. That could get you Springer. I don't know.
It's going to go quick.
It's going to go fast.
You're
it's going to go
about
real
Bauer
fast.
And Springer.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So, because we're talking the domino effect here, like the trickle down effect of what this does. Are you as inclined to really go after Springer now?
Yes. I think George Springer, not only is you're bringing in a Gold Glove center fielder, and we talked about up the middle defense, right? You're bringing in that, and you can start with the garbage can jokes, but you're bringing in a guy who's played in 19 World Series games. That's hard. It's hard to say no to that.
Right. So he wants
his
175.
His postseason resume is what it is, regardless of the garbage can incident or whatever. If you're going to bring Springer in, you got to try to do it at like 20, 25 a year. The average has got to be around. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
That's happening.
Yeah, because I think Toronto's going to.
So that makes it more difficult.
So I have 2 hypotheticals for you. And it's like the would you rathers. All right. So I'm going to give you the would you rather. Would you rather Trevor Bauer with Jackie Bradley Jr., or would you rather George Springer and Brad Hand?
I wanted a different combination there.
You want George Springer and Liam Hendricks. I don't think they're going after Liam Hendricks.
No. I wanted Hand and Bauer.
You want Hand and Bauer. And you would just ride it out with Nimmo in center.
I mean, you could explore trades. You could Pilar is a free agent. Is he not? Did I just make that up?
I don't know.
Pretty sure he is, man. Free agent.
Yeah.
It's tough. Well, I mean, because what it is, it's like if we get Springer, then I don't think we're going after who's the other guy that you said?
You said Springer and Brad Hand.
Okay, that's probably what's going to happen.
Like a realistic, like the $30 million threshold.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. But then we can't get anyone else, not even like, say, Odorizzi.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's done. It's
yeah.
cemented. Like, they're not going to go and sign a 4 or 5 guy just to top it off. I don't think so, at least. But again, these guys, there's so many guys that aren't signed, and you're talking like nearly a month from now, guys got to report.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. I see the need for Springer still. So I just went back and forth on mine a little bit, but I do see the need for that.
Do you think by trading for Lindor, the Mets become a more attractive place for a free agent like George Springer or Bauer? Bauer, again, was former teammates with both of these guys when he was in Cleveland. He was a pitcher for a bunch of years in Cleveland with Carrasco and with Frankie Lindor.
Now, I thought when Steve Cohen bought the Mets, I think guys knew, like, all right, this is the move now. So I think guys were already privy to that and were prepared. I mean, it's tough because it's like, does the starting rotation not scare you a bit still?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right? So, like, sure, like, people love Stroman or whatever, but
I think it's just because no one's such a question mark. You don't know what you're getting there.
They're all question marks,
you could
start with all question marks.
You could start with Lugo in the rotation, could you not?
I don't like starting anyone in a rotation. I like someone to start and finish in a rotation. I like a set rotation. I don't need a March and April guy to come
around.
to come get. All right, you got March and April, and then when Noah's good in May and June, he's gonna hop in. I don't love that at all. I don't like any part of that, unless it's for the 5. I'll have 40 million guys for the 5. I don't care. You can all take your turns pitching.
Yeah, but then
as the number 5. I don't care.
So then, right now, you have your 4. You have DeGrom, Carrasco, Stroman, and Peterson.
Peterson, I liked him a lot. Short season, they never extended the leash on him. That's a question mark for me, and I like him. I do have faith in him. Stroman didn't play at all last year. Was hurt the year before.
Yeah,
I got faith in him. I got faith in him being good. But these are question marks, and if someone were to say this to us, like a Yankees fan, I'd be like, "Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Like, we still have DeGrom, and Carrasco is always consistent, but it's a nice number 3 consistency. It's not I don't know if it's number 2. So there's my question mark with that. So it's like, it's trying to fit. We're literally trying to fit.
It's a puzzle. It's the whole thing is a puzzle,
and it's tough. So maybe we need 3 guys.
Maybe. Oh God!
Uncle Stevie,
should we talk to Stevie? All right, so
Stevie.
Steve, we need Bauer, we need Springer, and we need Brad Hand too.
Oh my God! Book the World Series.
You don't know. They could go over the luxury tax. We don't know. We don't know what to expect here. And the thing is, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
I know. They didn't say that they wouldn't either. They didn't say, like, no, we're not going over. They were non-committal to it. So you just don't know. You don't know. I would assume that they don't go over.
But, dude, you don't see teams do this for a reason. Like, look at the Red Sox.
Yeah, no, I know.
Pay the price, but hey, like, they did win a World Series, but paying the price big time. And they're finally able to spend a little bit, I think, this year now, which is good.
They couldn't wait to get rid of Dombrowski, who, by the way, is in Philadelphia now.
But he gets teams to win, so
yeah,
he doesn't have much money to spend in Philly, which is his thing.
They have no money to spend in Philly, and that's all he wants to do.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think my heart really wants Bauer, but my head is saying Springer and a reliever. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Hand. I would say it's Hand or Wilson. I like Justin Wilson a lot, so I don't know why we're just – Brad Hand was good, but
I think the reason people want Brad Hand is, they don't want Edwin Diaz to be the closer anymore.
Would that happen, though? Or would
I would
Hand
imagine.
set up? Yeah. Then I'll
Yeah.
take Hand.
I would imagine Hand would be the
Okay.
closer, and Diaz
Then
would be
Hand is the priority. Because,
You are so anti Edwin Diaz.
dude,
Listen, I'm scarred a little bit, but gosh, man, the K9 is insane.
yeah, it's great. He either strikes someone out
Or walks them, or they had a friggin'
or they
double
hit
down the
a
line.
bomb. Like,
He had some really unlucky games last year too. He was much better last year. I know what you're gonna say. 2 years ago was a freaking disaster, and we can't.
dude,
Dude, if he's average 2 years ago, we easily make the playoffs.
their first 2 weeks of last year were bad. I was like,
Dude,
I'm gonna choke
remember
this
what
guy.
that Marcelo Zuna home run? Oh my God, we were watching it together. That
Dude,
was
yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it was April and I was ready, right? Or was it no? We started the season in June. So it was like it was the
yeah. I
first.
think you stormed out of the apartment in June.
It was 2 weeks in. We were 2
You
weeks
had
in,
an
and I
you
was
had an
ready to
adult
go off.
You had an adult temper tantrum.
Dude, I hate him. I
We need celebrity death match Armando Benitez versus Edwin Diaz.
even when he does good, like when he was doing good at the end, I was just like,
yeah, you don't care. I know.
I was like, yeah, good. That's what you should do, man. I'm done with you. Like, we don't need to speak.
So what are your expectations for Lindor this year?
To hit everything, to field everything, to steal everything. I want him to do everything.
He's going to be electric. I would hope like 280 to 300, 20, 25 bombs.
You know, I'm an average
bags.
guy. I would love to see 300. Looking at his past averages, he's hit 270 a few times. I don't fucking love that at all, especially, you know, like, but that's the game too, also at this point. You know, I guess taking away some of that average for power with home runs and RBIs, it is what it is. But, I mean, he's also a table setter if he's number 2, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, our lineup looks real good already. Our lineup was great last year, and it's gotten better. It's gotten extremely, extremely better today.
Crazy. I'm writing it down now. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitcher, and then it would be Nimmo. I don't know how you construct this lineup. McNeil, Davis, Lindor, Alonso, Dom Smith, Conforto, McCann, Nimmo, and then the pitcher in the 9-hole. I know Pete likes to hit third, though, so would you bat Lindor second, let Pete hit third, move JD down?
Who would hit fourth then?
I put Dom in the 4-hole, but you could move Conforto up to 4.
Yeah, but where's Dom playing?
Dom's playing left field, man. Pencil him in every day.
Yeah?
Yes.
He does rake. I mean, yeah, you got Dom Conforto. You're missing Michael Conforto.
I put Conforto in there.
Where?
After Dom.
5th?
5th.
Our best hitter? Our best hitter? Our best hitter.
You want to move him up? We could switch him. That's fine.
Dude, you could even say with the new lineup, our best hitter. Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's a big stride.
Average-wise, dude, last year he was
incredible. I love him.
Man.
You got to extend him, too. That's more money.
The way I do it is like
your biggest priority this offseason was to extend Michael Conforto. Have we done that yet?
No, I mean
that's more money right there.
They didn't give me the checking account, so I don't know what to. Yeah, I would do it though. Yeah, and we need a reliever. I get it. If we want to roll out with this starting pitching, I'm fine with that. I would say, probably get Springer, right? But if you have Springer, Lindor, then Conforto hitting third, and then Alonso, like, that's insane, man. And then Dom behind him, fuck with us. That's insane. It's a great lineup. But I would still sign Conforto to an extension. Like, yeah, we need to sign him.
Yeah, dude, that's money.
He needs to be a Met. He needs to be a Met.
It doesn't count for this year. It counts for next year. Still, I'm sure they have
so we're
people
fine.
coming off, people coming on. Yeah. No, man, I'm with you.
There's
what a lineup. Jeez.
It's insane. It's that makes you think, though, is JBJ fine? Looking at the lineup, it makes you kind of think that, does it not?
Yeah, but I would still start Nimmo over Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, same. And I would still start Nimmo like over Pilar. So it's like, what are we doing this for a bench guy, or
you're just signing Jake Marisnick then?
No, I didn't.
You're getting your back. You're getting your 7th, 8th, 9th inning outfielder, basically.
Well, Marisnick could come back, which,
I didn't hate it. I love it. Dude, the pitcher we traded for him had a great year.
Yeah, I know.
Like 2.70 ERA in that bullpen.
Thanks, Brody.
Fucking BVW.
What do you think he's doing now?
I don't know. Like, how can you go back to being an agent after?
It's weird, right? You got to take some time off.
Yeah, he's going to do the Theo, take a year off, and try to come back. So I have another question. I have a question.
Theo did that by choice.
Yeah, I know.
Brody is not.
I have a
Brody's
question.
in his slippers and PJs and hasn't changed since 2020.
I have I think this is a good question. I think it's a fair point. And this is just me playing devil's advocate. I don't feel any type of way. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Do you know who the Cleveland Indians general manager is?
Like right now? No.
Yeah. It's Mike Chernoff. And Mike Chernoff.
Oh, yeah. If you gave me multiple choice, yeah, I knew that.
Mike Chernoff was interviewed for the Mets general manager job.
Yeah.
And he was, I'm pretty sure he's got to be in the running for the president of baseball operations.
Was he interviewed, or did Cleveland deny that?
Ooh, that's a good point.
A couple teams
you
denied.
See what I'm talking about here? Like,
yeah.
Can you connect the dots? Like, what if what if Mike Chernoff is setting himself up for next year?
That's evil boss. That's awesome.
That's evil boss.
he's got the pinky right there.
Man,
that's
Dr.
good.
Evil.
That's good. I just got a notification that we're in talks for Chris Bryant now.
What?
I don't know what's going on.
Who are we trading for Chris Bryant?
I don't know. We don't need him.
Man.
Like, we don't need him. We're good.
Well, okay, let's talk third base then, just in generalities. We have J.D. Davis at third base right now. I love J.D. I thought that was probably, in my opinion, Brodie Van Wagenen's best move as general manager. And I would say, like, it's not even close. He stole him from the Houston Astros because the Astros didn't have anywhere to play. Now, JD, I love him at third base, but he's slow and he doesn't range. He's just got a cannon when he lets it rip. He hits 270. He hits real well off of lefties. He's a contact guy, which I love. There are two other third basemen. You mentioned one that the Mets have, I think, been in love with. I think it's Nolan Arenado, and it's Chris Bryant. Now, I don't know what you have to pay to get, and when I say pay, like, I mean prospect-wise to get both of them. But what if you put together a J.D. Davis, Brandon Nimmo? I mean, you're giving away a lot right there. That's two starters.
I don't want to do that, man. Yeah, I don't need to do that. We don't need Bryant. And then, like, we're definitely going over the luxury tax if we, take all this on. And we don't need it. I don't know. We don't need
Chris Bryant has not been great the past few years either.
No. He's had injuries, right, with his shoulder and all that. Smooth as hell over there at third base. But
play a little left field too.
I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think if you're going to go third base, you let Nolan Arenado opt out of that contract and you kind of sit and wait and you don't give the Rockies anything for him because he's going to leave there eventually anyway. That's the way I would play it. And it sucks that you kind of have to wait a year, but don't tell me this team ain't winning games right now. You know.
He was also banged up too last year. I don't think he played too great, but he was really, really hurt. Was sitting out most of the games of last year. So I don't know, man. Like, you never know. There is a shelf life on these guys, and especially when you're a bigger dude like that, which both of them are. It's the wear and tear. It's a thing. So
yeah.
I don't think it's anything that we need. I see J.D. Davis as more than a 270 hitter. I see him in the 280, 290 just because he hits to opposite field and is a contact hitter. Completely fine. Defense, yeah, could be better. It is what it is.
You got Lindor over there covering a lot of range now, a lot of grass to cover, a lot of dirt to cover over there at shortstop.
Yeah, just JD, Frankie. Just stand on the line and let Frankie get the rest.
Get everything.
Right? Get the rest, right. Frankie.
You want to do let's do Uncle Stevie's tweet of the week, and then we'll do a little Mets trivia for you and get out of here.
Let's do it.
All right, Uncle Stevie's tweet of the week. I'm gonna go with his comment or his tweet right after the Francisco Lindor news broke. I sent it to you earlier. I think it's really funny because people get on top of him for this all the time. But Uncle Steve says, and I quote, "I know this trade seems to creating excitement." He's got to work on his grammar. "I know this trade seems to creating excitement, but let's get back to what matters. The black jerseys." Uncle Steve stirring the pot with the Mets fan base.
He loves it.
Just dangles like the Met fan is the little hamster on the wheel, and Uncle Steve is the guy with the carrot, and the carrot is the black jerseys. He just dangles them in front of Mets fans like it's his job on Twitter. It is so funny. He's got a real dry sense of humor, I will say. He does like the same joke every single time, but I love it. I can't get enough.
It never gets old.
And I sent you that picture of Lindor in the Nets, the photoshopped in the black jersey. That's pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Those will be back. Dude, Mets fans, so many those fans on Twitter need to chill out.
They're insane. These are people with like 4 followers who are like, I don't know, they're like 65 years old and now have a Twitter and think they can just say anything online. It's insane.
Well, they're just like, "Oh, Steve, stop joking around and go sign someone." It's like, hey, man,
we're going to bully the billionaire.
Yeah.
I made $1.2 billion this year, but I'm going to listen to you who have 4 followers on Twitter. The fuck?
He had a good one that was part of a thread of that original tweet that you just said. Some guy, some asshole just goes, yeah, just because you got Francisco Lindor, don't think for a fucking second I'm showing up to that stadium still. And Steve just goes, "You promise?" with a question mark. Yeah, dude. No one wants you around, man. With that energy, no one wants you around.
Yep, that's great. That's great. That is great. He is like, it's unbelievable how he went from not having a Twitter to being like the biggest little chirp on Twitter of all time. It's so good.
Oh.
He's a lot of fun. If you don't follow him, Stephen A. Cohen too, on Twitter. Next, I got a little Mets trivia for you. And this one's in honor of the Francisco Lindor trade today.
I like that.
Okay. Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. Who was the 1969 Mets World Series MVP?
How is that in honor of Francisco Lindor?
It's going to make sense in a minute.
Kuzman.
No. You want to keep guessing? No.
Seaver. Trying to think of the staff, the coaches on the Indians. I don't know.
All right. It was the reason that it's in honor of the Frankie Lindor trade. It was Don Clendenin, who the Mets traded for in the middle of the year. So the Mets were like, I think they were like 9 games out of the pennant behind the Cubs, and they traded for Don Clendenin, and they turned it around. Came back, caught the Cubs, and the rest is history. Beat in the World Series.
All right, I would have never guessed that.
There you go. That's your Mets trivia. You got to remember this stuff.
I'm trying. I mean, I feel like you just watch like history channels of this.
The Mets History Channel.
You have like a encyclopedia of sports knowledge.
No, but
Let me just pick up the Mets book today. Knicks is tomorrow, and
I love the Aflac trivia questions. Gary is so good at the Aflac trivia questions.
Those are hard too.
They are hard. All right, you got anything else? I'm done.
That's it.
This is how I'm going to end it every time. I did it last time by mistake, and Cameron was like, that was such a good ending. Are you ready?
Go.
Episode 2. Put it in the books. Oh.